So I first started thinking about free soloing El Cap in probably 2008, 2009. And then the first several years, it was just this abstract dream. And each time I looked at the wall, it would fill me with fear. And then I had a couple of distinct experiences on El Cap where I was like, oh, I could actually imagine being up here ropeless. I had to sort of accept the dream, or sort of like embrace the vision of it before I could get into the nitty-gritty.
EP poured the first handhold in 1985. Here we are 30 years later. Chances are if you climbed inside, you've climbed on an EP hold.
We are doing it live from Reno, Nevada. This is the final round of the 2018 USA Climbing Sport and Speed National Championships. Welcome everybody inside Mesa Rim Climbing and Fitness here in Reno, Nevada. Brian Reynolds and Chris Widener here to call all the action tonight for our final round. We're about to get underway here in just about 5 minutes with our lead climbing national championship. But Chris, before we do that, let's quickly recap how we got here this weekend. Qualifiers yesterday, semifinals this morning, and for the women, in first place coming out of semifinals is Claire Burfine. And with last year's national champion, Ashima Shiraishi, not here this year, anybody's championship at this point.
That's right, Brian. We have no national champions currently here. Kai Leitner also is not here. As you pointed out, Ashima Shiraishi is not able to climb. She's out with a shoulder injury that actually got worse during the bouldering nationals. So she is out. So Claire Burfine came in first. Michaela Kirsch came in second in semifinals. And Kyra Condi in third. Also of note, Brian, is that we have Alex Puccio here climbing very strongly. In qualifiers, she was the only female to do Route B, and it was a technical route, maybe not the kind of route that you would expect to see Alex do so well on.
Yeah, a lot of people have been talking about that since yesterday. Pretty surprising to see some of the other climbers that you would have thought would succeed on a route like that struggle when Alex made it look pretty easy. So that was exciting to see, and she looked really solid during semifinals. So I think it's going to come down to the style of the finals route here, which we're going to get a look at in just a few moments. See also rounding out the women's field, past national champion Margot Hayes, Brooke Rabitou, and on the second screen here, also in finals, Delaney Miller, two-time national champion, and Sophie Kwan is our eighth and final competitor. She'll be the first one out during finals. So top 8 women and men competing here in finals for a spot on the U.S. national team and that national championship.
I'm excited to see Delaney back this year. It looks like she took a year off last year to kind of recoup, climb outside a bunch, and here she is back again. She is a 3-time national sport climbing champion here, so that's going to be great. She'll definitely spice up the competition a bit. And Brooke Rabitou, as you mentioned, is here, of course. She's placed third in the last couple comps here. And Sophie Kwan, she's a new name for us here in Adult Nationals. She's really excited to be here coming in. She'll be climbing first for the women.
And for the men, with our reigning national champion Kai Leitner out of action with an injury, we've got a little bit of a surprising name on top for the guys here. Solomon Barth in first place for the guys coming out of semifinals. Zach Galla, the sensation from bouldering nationals, doing it again here at rope nationals in second position. And our two-time defending bouldering national champion Nathaniel Coleman in third place right now, Chris.
Yeah, that's exciting to see. I think some of the crowd was pretty shocked to see Nathaniel Coleman just feeling so comfortable 40 feet up the walls here. And sure enough, Nathaniel does have quite the history of sport climbing competitions. So it's actually not unusual that he's here, but he certainly looks strong. In fourth, coming into finals, we have Dalton Bunker, who actually placed fourth last year. Or no, that was Noah Ridge, placed fourth last year. Noah Ridge is also on our roster here, coming in eighth for the men. And, of course, we have the other favorites, Drew Ruwana, Sean Bailey. Sean Bailey is a previous sport climbing champion. And rounding all that out is Josh Levin coming in seventh, and, again, Noah Ridge.
Sounds like we're just about ready to get started. And thinking back on semifinals this morning, Chris, for the guys, the semifinal route was pretty burly and pretty difficult, and there was a pretty big logjam in the middle of that route for the guys. So we talked to the route setters a little bit before finals. They know that they've got their work cut out for them, trying to find the right style and method to separate these climbers.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. These walls are 53 feet tall, yet I think very few of the competitors, if any, were actually falling off because they were pumped. And this was something quite a few of the competitors, men and women, were talking about in the back in isolation before this comp just moments ago, that the bouldery moves that have been set, we're kind of spitting them off rather than the pump and the resistance in this climbing. So we'll just have to see what they changed and tweaked for these finals routes.
Coming out first for the guys here, qualifying in 8th position for finals, is 23-year-old Noah Ridge from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Noah's a past podium finisher here at Nationals, so just because he's coming out in 8th position doesn't mean he can't take this title down.
And there's our first look at Sophie Kwan, 18-year-old from Plano, Texas. She is on Team Texas. She's been climbing for 10 years. And just a couple years ago, 2016, she was 5th place in the Youth A Sport Nationals. Other than that, she told me she was very surprised that she made it to finals and psyched to just come out here and have a good time.
A lot of the climbers that we talked to in ISO, at least outwardly, said they weren't feeling a lot of pressure. See how that manifests itself as they actually get on the wall here.
Yeah, I can't imagine not feeling quite a bit of pressure in a big crowd here, the big scene, and these intimidating routes that very few competitors in the semis were able to get past about halfway up, actually.
Yeah, it's a little bit deceiving here at Mesa Rim. These walls are 53 feet tall, and it can be a little deceptive when you're standing underneath them. They don't look quite as tall as they are. The climbers are finding out that there's a lot to figure out here.
And the setters have done an excellent job of making the routes meander just a bit, kind of adding substantially to a number of moves on these routes.
See Sophie working away on the so-ill innies there.
And indeed, Sophie Kwan is having a good time, smiling to the crowd and asking for some support, which the crowd is happy to give.
Sophie working through this section that the route setters dubbed the honeycomb. Be a really tricky exit to pull onto this volume that she's on there as Noah's about to face down. Wrestling with the cube here for the guys. Sophie came off just off camera there. This entire volume that Noah's on has no actual holds on it besides the geometry and shapes of the volume itself.
Wow. That is just an outrageous feature for a lead climbing competition.
Noah Ridge about 2/3 of the way up this finals route at this point, but a lot of climbing still to go. This route, after the next clip, goes straight to the right.
As I mentioned earlier, Noah did place 4th in last year's Sport Climbing Nationals, so he is certainly a contender to see on that podium tonight.
Yeah, there's really not much to be gleaned by the running order for the guys here, given how bunched up they were from semifinals. So I don't think any of the guys could win at this point.
Yeah, that's always kind of the way it's been with the guys lately. It's a wild card game, really. And with the women, it tends to be a little more predictable. The same names end up in the finals year after year.
So Noah able to find a pretty good rest here. The foot that he's on is pretty big, and he's on a section of the wall that's relatively vertical. To get a good look at it there.
Relatively vertical is relative, of course.
Very deep in cut on that hold that his right hand is on right now, but the feet start to get weird, as you can see. And the holds start to disappear.
Wow, in a display of raw power. Wow.
So Noah Ridge setting an early high point for the guys there. Remember, this is an on-site format, so the competitors, they did have a route preview earlier where they got to come out and look at the climbs, but otherwise they're in the back in isolation, so they did not get to see how each other's performing on the route, so they don't really know where they need to get to other than the top.
And Brian, that 5-minute route preview period where they can look at the routes and talk to each other about them, it only goes so far, because as we saw in the semifinals, women and men really did different sequences, some of which worked, many of which did not work. So the on-site format really does still feel like an on-site up there, and you can see there's going to be competitors doing all sorts of different things on these routes. So I think that kind of mentality, that kind of skill for on-siting is really going to be crucial here.
And also important to keep in mind that unlike the World Cup, there's no time limit on these routes, so the competitors have as much time as they need to get to the top of the wall. I don't think that's going to be a real concern, though. There's not a lot of opportunities for rest. But we did see Noah got a pretty good rest there, but he fell, one move after, which you tend to see a lot, actually, in these climbers. They just don't know in the onside format where they need to rest and where they need to go. They're just kind of feeling things out as they go based on their experience and how they read the route.
Yeah, and when you get a rest 2/3 of the way up the wall, like Noah just did, you tend to take advantage of that, regardless of what's coming up.
Going to transition to our next pair of climbers here.
We have Delaney Miller stepping out. She is back after a year off. She placed first in 2013, 2014, and 2015 Nationals.
Now next for the guys, the 24-year-old Josh Levin from Sunnyvale, California. Been mixing up his climbing with American Ninja Warrior of late. Actually had to miss bouldering nationals because of a hand that he broke doing Ninja Warrior. He said he's been feeling pretty good the last month or so. Excited to be back in finals again for the second year in a row. And like you were saying, Chris, Delaney back after not being here last year. So when athletes miss a year, you always wonder where they're at, where their fitness is at. And not too surprising to see Delaney pretty much right back where we last saw her at Nationals 2 years ago. Same deliberate style, but very effective.
And it looks like she might be just a touch nervous here, kind of trying to clip early, figuring out some things. Looks like she may have even gotten short rope real quick. But, yeah, I think that might be her challenge today, is just kind of controlling the nerves, being back, probably feeling quite a bit of pressure. But we all know Delaney has the ability to be first place. So,
yeah, you have to wonder if she's got in the back of her mind the last time she was in finals, she had an unfortunate low fall in finals, which you hate to see. She's already, looks like she's getting into the groove here.
Yeah, it does look like she's kind of found her slow flow, which works.
And one fun wrinkle in finals this year is you see the placards on the wall of the different hold companies. Element Climbing, they're so ill. Each section of the route by those placards is set with the holds of that company, so the texture of the route kind of changes as the climbers go up the wall. Different holds along the way, so keep an eye on that. This is real speed. And it's fun to see Delaney and Kyra Kandi climb just about back-to-back during semifinals this morning. Such opposite styles. They're both very effective. Scoring for lead nationals, relatively simple. The competitors, for each hold on the route is worth a point, and then the competitors are scored as they control each of those holds. And then there's some fractional scoring available for movement off of a hold and movement up to the next hold. That typically only comes into play if the competitors fall in the same move. In general, whoever gets the highest is going to win here tonight.
Delaney kind of making her way very calmly to, a new high point here so far.
is one of the last opportunities for the women to get a rest in here. She's on a pretty steep section, but the next head wall she gets onto, holds definitely get worse.
Josh Levin, certainly one of the most winningest youth competitors ever, with many national titles.
And Josh, one of the most well-rounded climbers, definitely has his eye on the Olympics in 2020, which are going to be all about being well-rounded, given the format.
That's good you bring that up, Ryan, because really the Olympics is a huge motivator for the boulderers like Alex Puccio to be out here climbing on the sport wall. It's a huge motivator for all of these athletes to be memorizing the speed round and training specifically for speed, even though that's not really something most people would just do. So, yeah, the Olympics really is changing our competition scene.
Yeah, you're already starting to hear from a number of athletes that they're kind of putting other life priorities aside, starting to do some of the World Cups over in Europe to try and get ready for qualification for the Olympics in a couple years. Josh is...
Oh, my. He's taking a very different approach than Noah wrestling this cube.
I wonder if he's going to get stuck out there on the...
Oh, my gosh.
Alone on the ledge.
Is this Alex Honnold out in this competition or what?
Josh Levin going to have a really hard time transitioning, though. He's facing the exact opposite direction that he wants to be.
It's amazing.
Remember, Noah stayed on he just stayed on the left side of that volume the entire time.
And as Ryan mentioned earlier, there is no time limit. Josh could be up there for the entire time that Delaney is finishing this route.
Maybe he could just lay up his second real quick and they could make it a two-pitcher.
Oh, my. Not sure whether that's what was anticipated by the route setters, but makes for a good show.
And here's Delaney finding a rest. I wasn't quite sure that it was going to be there, but not surprising to see Delaney Miller utilizing the rest to their full extent.
Delaney heading up into what the route setters called the Three Fangs section.
Yeah, and this is where the women's route is going to get serious. Going to have to ramp up the power. And the top hold you can see in the screen there is pretty bad from what we were told. It's got a good lip on it, but also pretty slopey. It'll be interesting to see how Delaney uses her feet through this section. She's climbing so smooth, Chris.
Wow. Yeah, this is the Delaney that we've seen on the podium before, Brian.
This is the kind of performance that makes the route setters a little nervous. They were tweaking and forerunning these routes leading into finals. But Delaney Miller just 2 moves away from topping this finals route out.
Pretty amazing how she is finding a rest on almost every section of this entire route. It's just incredible. I'm sure we are not going to see that from most of the ladies.
Getting a great look at that hold, though. You can see not the best hold, but if you stay low on it like Delaney is, you take a little bit of weight off with your heels, and actually work out to be a pretty decent rest. That's exactly what she's doing. This last section is going to be pretty brutal. Huge move out to this.
Yeah. She's going to have to take a risk here.
And that's going to do it for Delaney Miller. A new high point for the women here in finals. Really impressive performance for her. And she's going to have to be pretty pleased with that, getting just a couple moves from the finish. She looked really strong. See how that holds up. We have 6 more women to go here as Josh Levin still figuring out how to dismount here and get back on the wall. So one of those situations where the rest was good, but getting out of it turns out to be pretty strenuous.
He had time there to bring up a couple partners to his little belay ledge.
Josh still a couple moves below where Noah Rich got to. See if he can find the same rest here that Noah did. Looks like he's going to climb right through it.
Yeah, there he did.
Keep in mind the climbers can't skip clips. So Josh making sure to get that clipped up there, but looking a little more comfortable in this position than Noah did.
Yeah, it sure looks like kind of in typical finals fashion, the final section is going to be quite difficult. There's a series of drop knee moves, the route setters described, that really ramp up the difficulty here. It's a little surprising these routes have rests this good, though. These competitors sure are finding very creative ways to shake out.
Just see how bad that hold is. Josh just kind of gives up on that. That's going to do it for Josh Levin.
He's got to be happy with that one. Josh Levin, yeah, that was an excellent performance here in his finals.
So we are 2 climbers into the final round here of the 2018 Sport and Speed National Championships. From Mesa Rim Climbing and Fitness here in Reno, Nevada. Mesa Rim just opened last August, so brand new facility. Really excited to have nationals out here this year. Great to check out the new gyms as they open up, Chris.
Yeah, built with competitions just like this in mind.
Out next on the wall, our national champion from 2 years ago, Sean Bailey, the 21-year-old from Seattle, Washington. Sean did not defend his title last year in Denver, so great to see Sean back here again this year.
And Brooke Robotu, a face that you've seen all over the youth and lately in the adult bouldering and sport nationals. She placed 3rd this year and last year in bouldering nationals and 3rd last year in sport. Can she find her way up that podium just a little bit this year? We'll find out very soon.
Yeah, it feels like just a matter of time before she breaks through and wins one of these adult comps. She's been so close. She won so many youth comps over the years.
And really her main rival throughout the many years has been Ashima Shiraishi, who again is not here tonight to defend her title. So that sure leaves it wide open for somebody like Brooke.
See the both climbers just kind of giving one more look at the route. They had a chance to kind of process their preview back in isolation after they did that about 30 minutes ago at this point. Only so much you can glean from the ground, though. I doubt Josh Levin thought he'd be hanging out on the far side of that cube until he got up there.
Yeah, for her age, 16-year-old Brookie is certainly one of the most experienced competitors in U.S. competitions, having competed since she was a wee girl.
People, once again, you do not have to wait until they get to the top. It's all about getting there and knowing that you are.
And it really shows, I think, in her climbing. She climbs with a confident, smooth style. I don't think I've ever seen Brooke rattled in a competition.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. most of the climbers just seem to smile when they get down, and in some ways in these speed or lead climbing comps, can't help but smile. 1 second you're on the wall, the next second you're off, and that's it. You know, bouldering comps, you usually get another couple tries. But lead climbing, it's all about that singular effort.
Although I got to say, Brian, I think semifinals today was maybe not like that. We didn't see too many smiles. People coming off thinking they didn't do so well because they were falling relatively low on the wall. But it turns out pretty much everybody did. So, so here's our batch. But yeah, we'll surely see smiles, I think, from Brooke today.
Sean and Brooke both qualifying for finals in 6th position. Like we've been talking about all finals, not really indicative of their chances of winning. Really anybody can win at this point. Such an evenly matched field, really.
And Sean has certainly been focused on competitions recently, but it is worth noting he is a 5'15" outdoor rock climber, having sent biography in Soyuz, a couple years ago, I believe.
Got 2 climbers in the field that have climbed that route. Probably a first.
Looks like Sean might be taking the Noah Ridge low left version of the cube wrestle.
Yeah, it's tough. The cube is basically about the same size as these climbers when they're spread across it, so it's quite the wrestling match. And Sean able to figure it out. This definitely seems less strenuous than what Josh did, even though he got to perch himself up there for a pretty long time. But I don't think fitness is really the concern for the guys. They didn't really get that pump during semifinals. So they've only climbed, 35 feet maybe so far today. Pretty punishing semifinals round, which is not too surprising. In all these national comps, semis is always the most difficult.
And Brooke has so far climbed much faster up to this point than we saw Delaney climb. And true to her signature style, she does not look rattled in the slightest. Just kind of methodically figuring out move after move, trying different holds in different ways and seeing what happens.
Sean Bailey styling to a new high point for the guys. Onto those tiny crimps. He is going to be very comfortable on those. Trying to find the right feet. He is all out of sorts, though. See him getting a little uncomfortable there, but a new high point for the guys for Sean Bailey. Going to move him into first place. As we focus on Brooke Robitou now. Trying to match.
Oh, wow.
What we just saw Delaney Miller do. She looks a lot more comfortable. It's going to be a huge commitment. The hold they're going to is pretty big, but they got to go up and over this volume onto the head wall. Get a good look at it there. You can get both hands up there. Be solid, but tough to commit to at 50 feet off the deck. And Robitou slam dunk.
What an excellent commitment, and it paid off. Now for the final funky finish to this women's finals route. Brooke Robitou looking to stand a little higher on that podium this year.
Just a short distance for Brooke to the finish hole, but a tricky last move here. Route setters were calling this a flagpole move. She's
got to match both hands on that final hold for it to count.
And it's a send for Brooke Robitou.
Wow.
She is making a statement here.
That was a champion performance, Brian.
Incredible climbing from Brooke Robitou there. Will it hold up? She's got to sweat out now 5 more competitors.
Gosh, the amazing thing about Brooke is when I see her climb on these routes, I don't think she gets pumped.
Well, we were talking about it. People be smiling when they got done climbing, but when you send, can't help but smile. So Brooke Robitou and Sean Bailey both in first place now for them after that round of climbing. Gotta wonder if that's going to hold up, though, for Brooke. 5 more women to go.
Yeah, and not to mention the other women, though they cannot see the climbers, they could tell by the crowd that Brooke just topped out, and now the pressure is going to be on for those coming up, including Margot, Alex, Kyra, Michaela, and Claire. And actually, kind of by that same idea, all of the dudes know that Sean did not top out, judging, again, by the crowd's reaction. So that might even instill, I'm not sure, a little hope into all the other competitors, or hard to say.
Yeah, I think it goes both ways when, for the women, if they hear that Brooke sent, it gives them confidence that they know that the route's possible, but then they also know that they can't make any mistakes.
Yeah.
There's no margin for error in that case. As we get a look at our next male competitor, Drew Rowana, the 18-year-old from Redmond, Washington. Drew was in finals last year. Still looking to break through into first place, though.
And Margot Hayes, she placed second last year. She placed first. She was our champion in 2016 and second also in 2015. Again, with Ashima not here, this leaves the door open for Margot as well. She is from Boulder, Colorado, Team ABC, also a 515A rock climber.
And in the event that more than one woman at this point does finish a route, it's going to be a count back to semifinals to break any ties. So we'll keep you posted on how that shakes out as things go along here. But as it stands right now, Brooke Robitou in first place. Only way she can be beaten is if one of the other women finishes the route.
Drew is certainly among the most experienced outdoor climbers of our crew. He has climbed, I'm pretty sure, every 514 at Smith Rock, Oregon, including establishing the hardest one, Assassin 14D, and currently working on several other abandoned projects at Smith Rock. He's also very accomplished elsewhere, but that's perhaps where he's left his mark so far. And Margot has almost needs no introduction, becoming the first woman in the world to climb 515, and she has now done 2 of them in competitions. She is also very well decorated. I got to say, in qualifiers and semis, she may not have been on her A game, but certainly she climbed well enough to be here in finals, and she could easily take it today.
As we check on Drew and Margot here, we're joined in the booth by Megan Martin. Megan, thanks for stopping by.
Hi, guys. So happy to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
What do you make of finals so far?
Well, I mean, I think we just had something extremely exciting happen with Brooke Robitou topping the women's route. I think what's really cool about both of these routes so far is the fact that they're so physical. And it's interesting to see, especially with the men, whether they take the rest or not.
Yeah, we didn't see Sean rest much at all.
I mean, Sean's got a lot of endurance, so it's not. I didn't expect him to rest. So I thought he climbed very smart. And I feel like you're going to see a lot of the guys maybe not rest because they are very good sport climbers and have so much endurance. But it is really cool. And I mean, I was surprised that the down climb specifically on the rest looked kind of chill. I thought it was going to be a little bit difficult. So very exciting.
And Drew is certainly one of those sport climbers who may not choose to rest very much.
Exactly.
Yeah, even though the wall is 50+ feet tall.
That's like nothing for them. They're like used to crazy like 90 feet routes.
50 meters.
I just like don't even understand that, but it's okay. It's so impressive. Maybe one day.
Or maybe not.
Or maybe not.
It's fun
You
to
know,
stay closer to the
bouldering
ground.
is really fun.
Yeah.
So
Rope gets heavy the higher you get up, so.
that's true. Definitely interesting though with all the these routes have so many outdoor movements in them with all the knee bars. Like I mean the girls' route, it's like watching someone climb in rifle. So it's kind of different.
Yeah, and it's a little surprising to me anyway that both the men and the women are able to cop rests in unlikely looking places all over these routes. Really.
Very true. And I mean, it looks like Margot's actually not resting so much, which is interesting because I feel like usually she rests a little bit, but she's a very smart climber, so I'm sure she knows what she's doing.
Drew is getting close to the high
that's
point.
Dual text. Yeah, he's getting very close to the high point.
See him
One more move, right?
Yeah, that is the final hold that Sean controlled.
Foot
Oh!
pop for Drew Ruana.
And Sean definitely got usable on that, I believe.
We'll have to see how that gets scored by the judges.
Meanwhile, Margot
very
looking
close.
casual.
I feel like that's her climbing style, though. I feel like she always looks casual. It's beautiful to watch climb, always.
This section in particular is maybe a little bit easier than we expected looking at it from the ground.
Yeah, I think yeah. I feel like that dual text holds a little better than it looks from the ground, which is kind of helpful. But then a very committing move to that big cone, so.
So if Margot Hayes can top this out, she'll move into first place.
Correct. This could be an interesting one. Might get a few tops, actually. Yep, here we
This
go.
awkward top out just does not seem to be that challenging for these
There
females.
we go, top number 2.
Margot Hayes, another top on the
Doing
women's
what she does
problem.
best.
Typical Hayes fashion.
So she is in position to win another national championship.
Yep. Even though the route's been topped by 2 people, I think what's good to remember is anything can happen at any time. I mean, find yourself in the wrong body position, misread a clipping stance, and you could just be off the wall. So it's always interesting to see what happens. It's never over till it's over. So.
We sure saw a lot of that in semifinals, Megan.
Oh yeah, you did.
When we were talking right before you got up here about how the competitors in the back now know that the route is doable, which gives them some confidence, but also puts a little bit more pressure on them, knowing that they can't
Totally.
make any mistakes.
Yeah, I think it definitely comes down to managing that pressure and expectation. It's nice to know it's doable, but there is a little bit of pressure added, and you know, when you're a seasoned competitor, I think you're capable of handling the pressure, but you never know. Climbing is just so crazy like that. You just never know. Anything can happen. It's kind of the coolest thing ever. That's why it's like it's everyone's game. Like you never know. You come to a competition, like it doesn't matter if you beat somebody one time or another time, like anything can happen.
As we take a look at the unofficial results here, obviously not updated to reflect Margot Hayes also doing the route there, but you can see how things are after 4 competitors for the women. And for the guys, Sean Bailey, just like you were saying, Megan, just a little bit higher on that men's route, just in front of Drew Ruana.
I'm honestly so excited that Alex is in finals. Not that I ever had any doubt she would make it, considering she is just wicked strong, but it was just so exciting to see her top both qualifiers. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. Not only are you like the best boulderer, but it's nice to see her on a rope and kicking butt.
It sure is. There's a good look here at Alex Puccio, our 11-time bouldering national champion, here deciding to tie in for the finals at Sport Nationals. She, I know, has Olympic dreams, and this is one of the reasons why she's here.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. I think with the Olympics, everyone's kind of trying to figure out if it's like a possibility, and I think it's definitely a possibility for Alex, and really excited to see what she does. And Dalton is an amazing sport climber. I think this route will suit him really well. I think, honestly, on this route, I think it's just that tricky dual text section before the head wall. I mean, except for the fact that the last two moves are very difficult, but just making sure your feet stay on the holds, I think, is kind of the most important thing, because those things are so slippery. The cheated dual text holds.
Yeah, we were talking to Dalton in ISO before, and he was talking about how a lot of it's just about kind of keeping your wits about you when you get into the harder sections. The person that can say the more relaxed can execute the moves better.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that when you are more of a sport climber, I think that's one thing that they have over boulders especially. It's like that moment of staying calm when things don't go the right way, because with bouldering we're so used to like falling and getting to try again, and you don't have that with sport climbing. So the panic mode, I think, is controlled a little better with people who are primarily sport climbers, and I think it's so impressive to watch.
Yeah, and Dalton actually has been climbing outdoors, sport climbing more lately. In fact, he's recently done quite a few 514Bs, including last fall. He did his first 14C genetic drifter at Wild Iris, and he told me that that was really helping his competition climbing, kind of like you were saying, Megan. And I think it's great to see Dalton here. He was often doing well in qualies and semis, but just not really stepping up to the plate in finals. He has a chance tonight.
Yeah. And that's just what's so hard about these fields being so stacked. It's just, there's like no room for error trying to get into finals, and when you get in there, you definitely gotta go for it all the way.
Dalton, just 19 years old, from Orem, Utah. Been in a lot of these comps over the years, but still getting better every year.
Absolutely, his potential is swollen.
Definitely. Alex looks pretty chill. You know she's afraid of sport climbing too.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the best part, right?
Well, we were joking last night with her mom that she did both of the qualifiers routes because she didn't want to fall.
Oh, she literally said that to me before I got on the blue route. She was like, I really just didn't let go because I didn't want to fall. And because nobody wants to fall on slab. It's
an
kind
effective
of terrifying.
strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing was pretty spicy
I mean,
yesterday.
I'm not going to lie. I felt like I held my breath most of the way, just trying to like breathe every time you got to maybe a good hold. Dalton looks very casual as well. I do think the men's route is quite straightforward, which is pretty helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So they can kind of just have a plan and stick to it, and I feel like that's what we're seeing.
It seems like it's straightforward up until that head wall section where maybe because the holds get a lot worse, they're not able to...
Well, and it is kind of hard to see the very top of the wall from the ground, so in previewing it might have been kind of difficult.
Sure.
And by then you're probably a little pumped at least. I mean, I would be so pumped, but they're just like a little pumped.
Your fingers are probably sweating a little bit too, and those dual text holds are really unforgiving friction-wise.
And I guess the men don't really have much of a rest if they don't take that rest on the volume. So they kind of have to like make a lot of quick decisions.
Yeah, and I don't know, when I see Alex climbing, it sure looks like she's at home on these walls as if she is a sport climber.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that save she had in semifinals today just like proves how strong she is. And I think that really helps her a lot in sport climbing, because for her, the moves are pretty casual as long as she can just like maintain her composure. And that was a little shocking.
Another kind of low fall for Dalton.
Yeah.
That's kind of what tends to happen to him in finals. That's a little disappointing, but great to see him in finals.
Yeah,
Yep.
always good to see him in finals. Alex looks super chill. I know she's been sport climbing a lot of momentum. Those walls are really tall, so.
Yeah, she told me she's only climbed on a rope 15 days. Like
That's kind of a lot.
in like the last year or so. But for somebody like her,
If they
who
were all in
probably-
the last month, that's pretty.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
lot. That would be a lot. I'm pretty sure I climbed on a rope twice one time before an open national. Not this one, but it's definitely happened before. But that's when the field wasn't as stacked, so it doesn't really count.
My favorite part about rope nationals every year is everyone pretending like they're not preparing and
I
trying.
was talking about that actually the other day.
Never fails.
Yeah. I know everyone wants to pretend they haven't been training on a rope.
There was a moment there where Alex actually looked challenged. It didn't last long.
I
but
think I missed that. It must have been so quick.
it was quick.
She's like, oh, this is so easy.
Yeah, it's
That hold is pretty good, though. I mean, the dual text is terrible, but it's a pretty good lip for sure.
Or just the body position they're able to get into works
With the
really
heel
well in that
hooks,
hold.
yeah.
They are able to stay so low on it that it doesn't really.
And as long as she reads this move correctly and like uses the volume to get to the cone the way that Brooke and Margot did, she'll be fine. And I'm assuming they talked about that.
Yeah, it would be really surprising at this point if Alex were to fall.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, this is like a move straight out of a bouldering comp.
it really is.
Oh,
Oh, not even a foot cut.
my gosh.
That Puccio power.
The 5'2" Alex Puccio
I know, right?
did not have to dyno
What is
on
that?
the big move on this route. That was incredible.
Also, it's kind of nice that they put a jumpy move at the top. That's so rare.
Oh, she knows it.
She's like, oh, this is great.
She's like, I've never rested this much on a route
I
ever.
know, right?
I wish we could just move the women over to the men's route here.
I know. It's too bad there's not like any ties for them to have a super final.
So semifinals is going to come into play here for the women.
Yep.
Multiple tie
Another
situation.
top.
So it's going to count back. So if Alex can get this clipped up, she will move into first place here.
There we go.
There it is.
Puccio.
Alex Puccio.
Trying to add sport climbing national champion to her
Wouldn't that be
illustrious
awesome?
resume.
Bouldering champion and sport climbing champion in 1 year.
Yeah, as far as I know, Daniel Woods is the only other climber that did
I
that.
think so, yeah.
5 years ago, he did the double. This year, we have the chance for two. Nathaniel
Yeah,
and Alex
Nathaniel.
are both.
Yes.
I know, Nathaniel, the master competitor. That's what I called him yesterday. It is insane to watch him compete. It's like he becomes another person.
We're about to get a look at that other person here. He's coming up next.
So just 3 competitors ago here in our lead finals. Remember, coming up after lead finals, so we're going to have our speed finals, crowned a national champion for speed as well. So we're going to look at the updated scores here through 5 competitors. Alex Puccio, Brooke Rabatou, and Margot Hayes all topping out, but counting back to semifinals is what puts Alex Puccio in first place at this point. And then really well-deserved at this point for Alex. She was well out in front after qualifiers. And for the men, Sean Bailey in position for his second national championship at this point with 3 competitors to go.
And those 3 competitors, though, will put up a fight. Nathaniel Coleman, Zach Galla, and Solomon Barth.
Yeah, I don't even know if I could pick who might win on the men's side. Or the women's, really. It's very stacked this year in general.
Yeah, there's Kyra Condi, who placed 4th in last year's Sport Nationals and 4th in the Speed. She was our 2017 Dark Horse Bouldering Series champion as well, and she placed 5th in last year's Bouldering Nationals. Kyra certainly has a chance to be right up there.
Most definitely.
And there he is, the 21-year-old, 2-time defending bouldering national champion,
Without the
Nathaniel
man
Coleman. Donated his hair to charity last few weeks. Looking fresh for lead nationals here.
You know, I wonder if he will climb on top of the block. There's a chance he might. But I'm not 100% sure. He might not be that pumped when he gets there.
I feel like he might be too tall.
Ooh, that's actually a very good point.
Josh looked pretty uncomfortable up there. Nathaniel a little bit taller.
Well, a little bit taller. Maybe a lot a bit taller.
And of course, in typical Kyra fashion, Nathaniel has not even touched the wall yet, she's about a third of the way up the wall. Kyra Condi, 21 years old, from Shoreview, Minnesota, known for her fast climbing, and it works for her.
Yep, very speedy indeed. And especially on a rope, it's very, very helpful. Because she is, I mean, I think she's a very good sport climber, but I would say bouldering is more of her thing.
Yeah, she actually told us in ISO that she was definitely preferred the bouldery routes, of which the semifinals certainly was one. So that kind of made her happy. Other competitors, on the other hand, were complaining they were not falling off because they were pumped. It was just the hard moves, but I think that's Kyra's jam.
Totally her jam.
She's looking a bit run out right now.
Oh, yeah. There she goes.
Yeah, clip that, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Can you please clip the draws? Thank you. Nathaniel's looking super chill, as I would expect. Man, Kyra is moving. I mean, no surprise, but always exciting. Oh, it looks like he just dropped the rope there for a second.
And when you're climbing in these lead comps, Megan, how do you look at climbing fast versus climbing slow? What are the, how do you think about when to go fast, when to go slow?
I mean, personally, for me, faster is always better just because I don't have as much endurance as some of the other climbers. But when I look at a route specifically, there's certain sections that are harder that you know you're going to need to move through quickly. And if you can find a rest, like my goal is always to get to the rest.
Even Kyra, for example, is resting right now. It's even speedy Kyra rests.
Yeah, because you need to, but you know there's certain sections where you can't hesitate, so you just need to move through them quickly. Because hesitation will always lead to a chance to fall. So it's always better to make sure you can kind of cut it up in sections and figure out where you're going to rest and where you're going to move fast. She's looking very good on this route.
Yeah, it's fun when the boulderers come out of the woodwork and look like sport climbers.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome. I mean, I think honestly nowadays both bouldering and sport climbing are more about power endurance anyway. They're becoming more and more similar. So the crossover is kind of easier from sport climbers to boulderer and vice versa.
Yeah, that's true because, the bouldering nationals, the problems were so long, competitors were taking half their time on one attempt.
Totally, especially in the qualifying rounds when you only have 4 minutes. It's just something that everyone's kind of had to adapt to over the last few years, but it kind of makes it easier to go back and forth.
So Nathaniel staying out left as well. Looks like.
No.
I
was going to say, actually.
I
was going to say he kind of looked a little shaky and not as confident as normal. Definitely not what we wanted to see from him, but
not exactly the Nathaniel we expected, is it? But
I mean, hey, I mean, nobody's perfect, right? He's pretty perfect a lot of the time. So
exactly. Yeah, he climbed super well.
Oh my gosh,
the whole comp so far this weekend. I think it might have just been just happens.
Yeah.
That's the first time he fell in finals all year.
Oh my gosh. So. That is so true.
Interesting to see how Kyra's going to deal with this. Whether she's going to take kind of the volume approach or just do the huck.
I'm going to guess she goes with the
huck, maybe.
Oh, no. I was going to say she's going to go with the volume, but then the minute she started rocking back and forth, I knew it was going to be the jump.
Yeah, I feel like she let her foot get in a bad position there and lost her ability to drive with that leg.
I think that goes back to the whole just kind of figuring out in the moment and like if you're calm or not, and sometimes you kind of forget what you were going to do and you just kind of go for it, which is fine because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't,
and she knows right now
she could have topped in that.
She knows also that the others did top, just judging from the audience and all that, so she knows that she is just not up to where both Margot and Alex were.
Yep.
Or Brooke, rather.
Margot, and Alex.
Yeah,
but,
Brooke,
I mean,
Margot,
it's okay. I mean, she did climb very well this weekend. And I know as a climber, you're always psyched to be in finals. So
yeah, of course.
That's the main goal. The rest is the cherry on top.
Checking our scores here. Nathaniel Coleman, who just climbed, is in 6th place now. Sean Bailey still out in front with 2 climbers to go. So Sean going to be on the podium for sure. It's just a matter of where.
Yep.
Same for Alex Puccio at this point. She's going to be on the podium. Just a matter of which step of the ladder she's going to be on as we look at Zach Galla. Had a sensational performance at Bouldering Nationals this year.
Oh, my goodness. That's an understatement, I almost think, right?
Yeah, it came out of nowhere and really climbed superbly all weekend long, made it into finals.
Yep.
Back here again at Lead Nationals.
And the ever-smiling Michaela Kirsch, 23-year-old from Chicago, Illinois. She placed 5th in last year's Sport Climbing Nationals and certainly has a good chance of finishing this route. She's been doing a lot of sport climbing lately, culminating in a first female ascent of Necessary Evil, the 14C, notoriously difficult in Arizona's Virgin River Gorge.
Yeah, I think that both Michaela and Claire could top this route. I think it'll suit them both very well, even though they are extremely different climbing styles and they're both different heights, but both of them have a lot of outdoor climbing experience and just, sport climbing experience in general, so it's just going to be about efficiency.
Yeah, I'm always pleased to watch Michaela because it seems like she steps up. She kind of says she's nervous before the comp always, but she always seems to climb really well and smartly.
Yeah, I think that nerves are something that everyone deals with no matter how many times you've competed. I always say that if you're not nervous, you don't care enough, so I think she gets nervous like a lot of people, but she handles it really well. Honestly, I think she performs very well under pressure, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's been competing at the highest level for
a very long time.
A decade at least at this point.
Zach's looking very good. It is so interesting in general, this finals field, just the different heights. So all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the men and the women.
Yeah.
We'll see that with the women here, especially with Michaela and Claire climbing back-to-back.
Yeah. But then even Nathaniel and Zach.
Yeah, we got 10 inches of difference between Michaela and Claire. Michaela actually has been training for the past few weeks with Alex Puccio on a rope.
Oh, yeah.
They're both back in Salt Lake City, so they've been training together and having fun.
And look out right here. Zach in a little bit of no man's land with the clip situation here.
Oh, yeah. That volume is really good, though. So, and a lot of people have already climbed on it before because they've been using that volume in a lot of competitions lately. So,
yeah, I think it's been in a lot of the women's bouldering from what I remember.
Yeah, they used it the last 2 years, I think.
Let's see if his feet go past the bottom of the draw, though.
Oh, that's true.
Going to be called down, so in a tricky spot here right now. Going to be up to the judges to keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
But definitely, at least as far as ease of clipping, he would have wanted to clip
earlier.
But it looks like he's going to be able to recover here.
Got it.
Nice recovery from Zach Galla, but
wow.
Kind of takes you back to Sasha having to down climb at Nationals at Sunder 1, right?
Yeah, that was
just to clip the draw after topping the route.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Come on, Zach.
He is looking a little bit gassed right now.
Yeah, he is.
Oh.
Just a little bit too much effort wrestling that volume for Zach Galla, so that's going to do it for him.
It's his first Open Nationals final. I think he handled it very well. Probably got a little more pumped than he wanted to, but...
Yeah, I think he's got to be pretty pleased with his season.
Yeah, he had a very good season.
So we'll focus in on Michaela Kirsch. Remember, she's got to top this route if she wants to move into first place. Anything less, and she'll be off the podium.
Yep, top or podium, or no podium.
Brooke
Which I'm sure she knows.
Yeah, definitely. Given that Brooke Robitou, Margot Hayes, and Alex Puccio have all sent thus far. And really, this route just hasn't been as stressful as it looked from the ground.
Yeah, they are finding rests pretty much anywhere they want them.
There's a lot of knee bars. Though, I don't know is she going to go into the knee bar now? Probably. Oh, or is she just going to keep going? she might not actually be that pumped.
Yeah, I wonder. There haven't been a lot of hard moves up to this point, and there's been a fair amount of resting.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Ooh.
fun to see if she can figure out this crux move, though.
A little sketchy there. I feel like that's one thing I've learned about sport climbing is you really don't want your feet to cut that often. And she's just going for it.
Wow.
It's funny. I actually used to sport climb with her sometimes in Boulder, and she always used to yell at me for my feet cutting. And look at that.
Yeah, sometimes you got to be a boulderer even when you're on a rope.
Yeah. Definitely milking that rest, though. Oh, man.
Big move for Michaela Kirsch here, and she sticks
And
it.
she
That was
sticks it.
very impressive. Not even using the bump
hesitation.
off the volume.
That was out of the blue.
You
I
know,
expected her to feel that hold, feel it around, and
me
she
too.
just went for it.
Though she has been working, I feel like, on the past couple years on being more dynamic climbing-wise and just kind of working on her power in general. So there you go.
Yeah, she really needed that to do the Route Golden Ticket down in the Red River Gorge.
I was just going to say that. Yep.
14C down there with a pretty
That
big
dyno.
move for her.
Yeah.
So coming into use here at Lead Nationals.
And of course, they're going to rest as long as possible here before the final moves. But gosh, so far, the three women we've seen top this out have not really had any trouble with those final moves to the anchor.
No, yeah. I think the final moves are actually a little more casual. It's very comp style. Kind of like the second qualifier yesterday. A lot of like high feet rocking over on volumes. And I think everyone's getting really used to that. So, though, actually, I'm surprised that she's struggling there.
I wonder if she's not seeing that or using that undercling outright, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She doesn't really look worried, though, so
No.
I don't really think we should be worried.
As long as she doesn't overcommit to something that's not going to work, she can figure it out.
Though she has a lot of endurance and a lot of experience, so like even if she were to make a mistake, I think she could figure it out. Oh, come on. Oh, my goodness. This is
she knows that she's got to do this.
My hands are sweating, actually, watching this.
This is amazing.
She's like, no, why is this happening?
Yeah, you can imagine what's running through her head.
Yeah,
the
she's
other
like, oh
three
my
women
gosh.
top this out. I need to top this out.
Yeah,
I know
I'm right. I can touch the hold, but I'm not getting any credit yet. Like, I
All
mean, she's
eyes
keeping it exciting.
in the crowd are on Michaela Kirsch. She has a chance to be the champion, or at least in place to become the champion right here.
Yeah, I mean, if she tops, the lowest she can get is second.
That's right.
And the highest she can get is first. So, and I'm sure she knows that. Oh my goodness.
I'm going to need to chalk up here pretty soon.
I know, like my hands are sweating so much. This is so hard to watch. Oh. This would be a great time to have little like bubbles in the climber's head. What's going on? Some nice symbols, maybe.
And we know Brooke figured this out, and they're about the same height.
They are. There she goes.
Oh, is she going to go left hand? Is she
Come on.
Oh,
there you go.
there it is. There it is.
Just a little
And
more
Michaela,
rest.
yes.
Oh, very good. I know, we're like clapping
The crowd
up here.
is cheering for Michaela.
Hot. Way to go, Michaela.
Wow.
Some great determination from her.
So Michaela Kirsch persevering, putting herself into first place here with just one climber to go.
So already she has earned a higher place on the podium in Sport Nationals than I believe she's ever had.
Yeah, I think that's correct. So she's going to be very happy with that because I know being on the podium will be really exciting for her. And I mean, yeah, she still has a chance at first place.
Heck yeah.
Never know what's going to happen.
So not much change here for the guys in the last several
Sean's got to be
moments.
psyched right now.
Yeah. So just one climber to go with the
Solomon
opportunity to
Barth.
unseat Sean Bailey at the top of the men's standings here. Would love to see a top here for the guys.
That would be very
Rarely
exciting.
happens in the men's comp.
Last year, though, didn't we have quite a few tops on the men's side? I was climbing, so I'm not 100% sure.
I feel like Kai might have topped it out, but definitely.
Or was it like a bunch of last moves?
More,
like couple...
more common for the women to. We're still waiting for the
I know we had 2 tops last year for the women, Margot and Ashima.
Yeah, still waiting there for the women's scores to update to get Michaela on top of the list of names at the moment.
What this really emphasizing for the women's side of things is the importance of the entire competition.
Yep.
With the counting back to semifinals to break the tie. Really important to perform well in all 3 rounds. You never know when that's going to come into play.
That's really hard, too, because it's something that people have experienced before, and sometimes it's hard not to think about that and not to, like, get too pessimistic after the first couple rounds. And, like, because we know that it starts over, but you never know, because if too many people top, you're going to go to countback. So it's something you have to try to not focus on too much, because it can be a little bit stressful.
As you saw there for the guys here, our last and top qualifier for finals here, Solomon Barth, 20-year-old from Collegeville, Pennsylvania, and climbing for Stanford these days.
Yep.
Yeah, as is shown on his tank top there. And Claire Burfine, 19 years old from Plano, Texas. She is our tallest female competitor at 5'11", and she even has a +2 ape index.
Ugh, not fair.
She's got reach to spare.
I know. She should share. It'd be great. I'm sure she would, too, if she could. She's so sweet.
It'll be interesting to see if she has any difficulties with some of these sections.
Yeah, so for example, yesterday, the second qualifier, that dihedral was extremely difficult for her because she is so tall. And that was like the first thing I said to her. I was like, oh my gosh, you managed that so well, because I knew she was like so big for that box. I don't really think that that's going to be an issue here. I think maybe her reach would actually be to her advantage on this route.
You know, what's interesting about Claire, having talked already today about these climbers transitioning to outdoors, is that up until late November of 2017, her hardest rock climb outdoors was a 13D that she did as a 13-year-old in 2013. She had never climbed 514 until late November, and in 2 days she did 2 14Cs and a 14A in the Red River Gorge. Just unprecedented. I don't think that's ever happened.
Yeah.
Whose first 514 is a 14C?
Well,
now.
I think with comp climbers, often you kind of get into the mode of constantly training for comp after comp after comp, so it's hard to get outside. But that's what's so cool, because when you go outside, it's like you have so much potential, and then you can just get on climb after climb after climb and just crush and jump grades so easily. And I think you'll see that more and more, because so many of the comp climbers, especially the younger ones, don't get outside that much. Like even Brooke, like she lives in Boulder, Colorado, but you're so busy training for all the comps that you don't even get. I mean, I'm sure she hasn't even been to Rocky Mountain that many times. You know, like most of her climbing is like trips over the summer.
Maybe she just doesn't like hiking that much.
Oh, she's totally down. She's moving pretty fast.
And personally, I'm really happy to see Solomon Barth here.
Oh, she got an E-bar.
Yeah, having placed first in semifinals coming in. He's a name we've seen a bunch before, but gosh, he has a chance here to podium in the finals, which I don't think he's done.
Yeah, Saul has been a very good sport climber for many years, and, you know, this could be his year, for sure. Definitely looked really good all weekend. Claire looks very casual right now. Ooh.
Got to be a little bit of added pressure coming out last in finals.
Yep. But, I mean, I think she's dealt with that a few times, so I think she can handle the pressure.
It's cool to see how the men approach this cube. It looks a little different each time we've seen it.
Claire moving really fast.
She really is. Is she going faster than Kyra? I wonder.
Yeah, you know, she was, of note, our 2017 speed climbing national champion.
Oh, she's very
so
speedy.
maybe she's putting those skills to use here.
I think she knows she has to be efficient, and so she's just not wasting any time, which I think is really smart. Get the rest when you need them, when they make sense, but don't make any unnecessary resting. Here she goes.
And it looks like Claire's taking the static approach.
Yep.
And it's no problem.
Now, actually, this getting her feet up might be kind of interesting.
This could be.
Her legs are very long.
Absolutely. This could be very difficult for her as compared to the others.
The only thing is that I think if something does go wrong, you can save yourself on that like big ball cone thing. So it might not be that dramatic.
This is for the championship for both climbers, though. Claire Burfine, if she can get onto this hold,
there you go.
She will take her first lead climbing national championship.
Easy.
Oh my gosh.
New national champion.
Claire's going to do it.
Oh, she's going to be so excited.
Claire Burfine is your 2018 lead climbing national champion.
And it does feel like it's about time that Claire takes that championship. She has been on the top for so many years. She placed 6th last year. But wow, what a great time to see her actually take it. She's thrilled. She is thrilled.
For Claire.
She's still looking for that speed national championship a little bit later tonight as well.
A little stretched out. Oh.
That was a high placement, though, for Saul there.
That's very. I wonder if he got usable surface actually on the next volume.
That put him pretty close to 3rd place.
Yeah.
But with Solomon Barth falling there, that means that Sean Bailey is your 2-time speed or lead climbing national champion. Excuse me. Another
Sean
national
Bailey
champion
does not speed climb.
for Sean Bailey. 2 out of the last 3 years.
Definitely would have liked to see a top on the men's route, but I mean, Sean got extremely close, so I'll take that.
Yeah, wow, what an exciting finish. Sophie Kwan there giving Claire Burfine, the new national champion, hugs. Brooke Rapitu, Kyra Condi, everybody congratulating each other.
Definitely exciting.
Claire's got to transition to speed climbing here in just in a little bit.
Yeah, well, actually, Claire, Brooke, and Kyra are all in the speed finals.
And looking at the scores there, Claire Burfine in 1st place, Michaela Kirsch getting 2nd place, Alex Puccio, the boulderer, taking the 3rd place on the podium, and Margot Hayes, Brooke Rabitu, and Delaney Miller not making it up to the podium this year. But they are on the U.S. team, being in the top 6.
And looking at the guys here, final results, Sean Bailey, your 2-time national champion, Drew Ruana, and Solomon Barth rounding out the podium. Josh Levin, Noah Ridge, Zach Gallo rounding out that U.S. national team. Nathaniel Coleman not quite making in there with a low fall.
Yeah, and I think top 8 end up U.S. team for the girls, correct? Due to Claire Burfine
special cases, sure.
Yeah, Brooke Rabitu's world champion, Pan American champion status. So it's very exciting for the other, who ended up 7th and 8th.
Sophie Kwan.
And Kyra?
Probably Delaney Miller.
Oh, Delaney.
Yeah.
Because Kyra, yep.
Well, all right, we are in a transition period here right now, just getting the speed wall up and running here. In just a few minutes, we're going to have our speed climbing national championship. And then we're going to have awards for speed and lead. But first, we got to crown some speed climbing national champions for 2018.
I have a good view looking down on the audience and some of the competitors. Claire Burfine has just received about 35 hugs in the last 2 minutes here. Everybody coming up and congratulating her.
That's going to be a quick turnover to speed.
Yeah, they're gonna have the guys go first to at least give the women a little bit more rest, since none of the male speed finalists were in lead finals. So the women will get a little bit of a rest.
Definitely a little more fair.
Yeah.
That'd be a little stressful having to jump off the lead wall and then try and run, basically. Speed is like so tiring. I competed in speed for the first time ever the other day, and I had like pancakes and eggs for breakfast, and after my 2 practice runs I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I ate too much. I feel a little nauseous. Like, I kind of forgot that it was like running, basically, so gotta maybe not eat too much before speed.
All right, as we get ready to transition here, Megan, we're going to say thank you for stopping by. We're going to try to get some athlete interviews here in just a few minutes with our national champions, but really appreciate you stopping by and
thanks for having me, guys.
offering your perspective. It was really fun.
Enjoy those interviews. I'm sure they're going to be so exciting.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by. That was great to have your voice in here, Megan. Thank you.
Yeah, see you guys later.
Thanks, Megan. Big thanks to Megan Martin for stopping by at the end of the lead round there. Chris, that was very exciting.
To say the least, Brian. Wow. What an excellent nationals. Michaela's pause up there and the, 3 or 4 attempts on the last moves that other women had made look not too difficult. That sure was stressful.
See the climbers getting ready for the speed wall. We'll get you up to speed with who's going to be out there as we get started. Interesting wrinkle with the speed climbing this year. The first year that at adult nationals, they're going to be climbing on a 15-meter speed wall. So in past years, they've been climbing on the 10-meter wall, but international standard is that 15-meter wall. So Mesa Rim just being built in the last year, offering that standardized international speed wall here. The route that you see is standard throughout the world, doesn't change from season to season, so it gives the climbers sort of a baseline objective that they're able to test themselves against, a little bit like 100-meter dash or something like that, where the parameters don't really change. It's just your ability to complete it, and your fastest time is what changes over the years. So it's really cool. Talking to Josh Levin before lead finals, he was talking about how he had a really fast time about 5 years ago, got injured, and so his speed time is about a second slower than it used to be, and so he's able to have that comparison year over year, and it's kind of cool that he's got that benchmark that he knows that he can work back toward.
Yeah, and this wall that you're seeing right now is exactly the wall they're going to have set up in the 2020 Olympic Games. That is why this is the 15-meter wall here at the Sport and Speed National Championships. All of the competitors here are competing on the same wall in all international comps, including the Olympics. And again, as we've pointed out before, many of these athletes had not speed climbed until the Olympics decided to host climbing, and now suddenly there's an interest because it's going to be in the combined. It's going to be bouldering, it's going to be sport climbing, and it's going to be speed.
Yeah, oddly, a lot of people interested in speed climbing all of a sudden.
Hey, let's go speed climbing.
Well, it's interesting. I don't know if you saw this interview with Adam Ondra a couple of weeks ago, where he was talking about his approach to the Olympics. Obviously, he's pretty much the best climber who's ever rock climbed, but hasn't really done a lot of speed climbing over the years. And he was talking about how he is going to start focusing on it, but he still feels like the real important aspects of that combined format are going to be the bouldering and the lead, just because of the level of competition that there is in those disciplines.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Brian. And also, I mean, let's be honest, bouldering and sport climbing relate to and were born from real rock climbing, whereas this speed climbing is just absolutely something that's a showy way for the world to see, hey, here's a race, it's obvious who's winning, but it really has nothing at all to do with real rock climbing. So certainly a rock climber like Adam Ondra would prefer, and I actually have to say, I mean, most of the sport climbers and boulders here in this competition today probably care a little more about the rock climbing oriented disciplines like bouldering and sport climbing. However, I don't know, John Brosler, for example, he is our speed national champion. He is also a very excellent sport climber and boulder, and he actually loves the speed and he trains for it and does well. So yeah, you never know. Maybe we're kind of turning the corner, and people are going to be seeing speed as a more legitimate form of climbing.
Yeah, things are definitely going to be evolving pretty rapidly the next couple of years as the Olympics comes into focus, as the structure and format of the competitions that are going to allow athletes to qualify. As far as we know at this point, it's just going to be one athlete from each country per gender that can qualify, so it's going to be extremely competitive, thinking about the U.S. team.
It doesn't sound like much. One of each gender from each country.
So a lot of climbers that we've been talking to at these comps really gunning for the Olympics, but going to be so competitive to get in there as we're waiting for speed climbing to get underway here. Joined by our 2-time national champion, Sean Bailey. Sean, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That was awesome to watch you climb, Sean. You know, it was hard to tell when you were up there on that wall and you fell off. Did you think that you had made the high point that would stick?
You know, you have no idea. That's the thing. So many strong competitors, and anyone can have an inspired day and climb really, really well. You know, I knew it was good. It was good for me, and I didn't have anything left, so I was happy with how I performed, but you never really know how everyone else is going to do, so I was just stoked, yeah.
Did you have an inspired day today?
I was all right, yeah. I did
okay.
as well as I could with what I had, and it was enough, so.
And what was the climbing like up there? We didn't see a lot of the guys get up there. What were the moves and holds like?
It was really physical. Yeah, very like full body intensive for a long ways, and then near the end it started to get fingery, but like my whole body was so gassed that even like my hands were just fighting to open. So
What'd you make of that cube section down low there?
crazy. Yeah, it was crazy, and I climbed right after Josh, so I knew that he was on the wall for like 15 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was the only place that you could get some sort of rest like that. So I kind of figured he had mounted it and he was on there. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, if I have to do that to be successful, like that's a bummer. And so I was just like stressing about it the whole time. Then I got up there and realized like there's no way I'm going to try this. So that was crazy.
You do a lot of World Cup competitions as well.
Mm-hmm.
How does the U.S. Sport Climbing Nationals compare the routes, that is, compared to the routes you climb all over the world in comps?
It's starting to move in a more similar direction. I think it's still a little bit different. It's a little more progressive. It gets a little like harder and harder the further you get up. I think World Cup is a little more on you from the start. But it's starting to move in that direction. The movement's getting more out of the box, and it's starting to get a little more, I don't want to say awkward, but just kind of funky.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And are you planning on doing the Lead World Cups this year as well?
Yeah, as many as I can.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what, how do you think about the season as you're approaching it? Like, what kind of training do you do? What do you think you need to do to be successful this year?
Yeah, man, it's tough, right? Because I'm going to try to do as many boulder events as I can, too. So I have, I'm doing at least 4 of them. So I'm kind of a juggling act to say, all right, well, I got to be this strong on boulders, but I also want to be as strong as I can on lead. Mm-hmm. So this is my first time doing it. We'll see how it goes.
And for an athlete like yourself, who also has climbed 515 outdoors, how do you balance your desire for outdoor rock climbing with all of these comps?
Yeah, that's tough. Super tough.
Are you going to be climbing outdoors much over the next World Cup season?
As much as I can. Probably not a whole lot, honestly. But at the end of the season, I'll try to, make a 1 or 2 month trip out of it and climb outside and just enjoy climbing again. But for now, I'll, kind of stick to training and stick to the competitions because it's good right now. So
that's great.
Yeah.
All right, so you won nationals 2 years ago, and then you didn't come back last year.
Right.
You won this year. Will we see you here next year?
Probably, yeah. I think so.
All right. Congratulations, Sean, and best of luck on the World Cup circuit this year. We'll be watching.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. Great to talk with you.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Thanks to Sean Bailey, 2-time lead climbing national champion, for stopping by. Really fun to see him competing on the lead World Cup circuit, especially. You don't see many many Americans climbing out there, especially for the guys. So be looking forward to seeing Sean out there again this year. I know a bunch of climbers are planning on doing those comps as we build towards the Olympics that we've been talking about.
Once again, best of their 2 times are going to be their scores that determine the winners and our next national champion.
And while we were talking to Sean there, we had in the background the men's speed finalists lining up. We're going to have Thomas Pitzel, Max Hammer, Joe Goodacre, Jordan Fishman, Noah Bratzi, Luke Rodley, Michael Finn Henry, and defending national champion John Brosler. Those are the 8 speed finalists. John Brosler, 4-time defending national champion for speed climbing.
Yeah, it's still a specific enough discipline, Brian, where someone like John Brosler, who's really decided to own the discipline of speed climbing, can come out and really just win it year after year.
Here we go. Silence.
Thomas Pitzel on the left, Max Hammer on the right here. We get our first look at our speed finals. Max comes flying off the wall, so it's just Thomas here. The 7-4-4. The way that this format works is the competitors race up the wall against each other, and then they're going to switch sides. And then their fastest of those 2 times is what's going to be their score for finals. So it's not elimination style or bracket style or anything like that. It's just head-to-head races. And the best overall time is who's going to be national champion.
And I do appreciate that about the speed climbing, Brian, that it is cut and dried. There's a time on the clock, and whoever's fastest is in first place. There's no guessing game with did they control this or that hold. It is clear as any running race.
See some discussion going on here. Not quite sure what's going on, but I think they're going to switch sides after. They're going to go through each pairing once and then switch, which I think is a change from years past. So the next pair is going to be Joe Goodacre and Jordan Fishman.
Yeah, it's interesting for the men in finals. There are 0 of the speed climbing finalists who were in the men's sport climbing finals, whereas for the women, there's a number, including Brooke Robitou is going to be in the speed finals. Kyra Condi and Claire Burfind, our new national sport champion, is also the currently...
She's 2-time defending speed champion.
Exactly,
Too, so.
the two-time defending speed. So she has a chance to have both titles.
She's just stacking hardware at this point. And we see this cool part of the process here for the speed climbers. They kind of go set themselves on the start hold, kind of feel it out, and then they get clipped in. Remember that this speed route is standardized, so they're extremely familiar with each hold and each move. They basically have a memorized sequence that they have dialed in. It's just a matter of executing it as fast as they possibly can. And you were talking about how many women from the lead comp are in finals. It wasn't for lack of trying for the guys. Josh Levin tried to qualify for speed finals and didn't make it.
Yeah, it as we pointed out earlier, has suddenly become quite competitive to even be in the finals now of speed climbing, which is actually fun to see here as America kind of tries to catch up with some of the more seasoned European speed competitors. It's certainly our Achilles heel in terms of Olympic champion performance.
All right, here we go. Let's do this one more time.
Team ABC face-off here in speed finals.
Quiet, please.
And the crowd goes quiet. The music stops for when the finalists are about to go.
Jordan Fishman on the right there with the fastest time, just edging out Joe Goodacre on the left. Jordan, Pan American champion in speed climbing.
Just incredible how they really seem to treat this as if it is a running race. No looking down, footholds, feet paddling, whatever. They're just flying up this wall.
Basically just swimming their way up the wall. Oh, we have our next pair coming out here, Noah Bracci and Luke Rodley. Second to last pair.
And then, as we mentioned earlier, they're going to go through again pair after pair for a second time, switching sides on the wall.
Luke Rowley on the right, Noah on the left. Noah breaking 7 seconds.
Wow.
A very strong time.
6.90. That is certainly a very fast time. He seemed very happy with it.
Our next two competitors and final two male competitors, we have Michael Finn Henry and John Brosler. For those of you who do not know, not only is John Brosler a reigning national champion, he also currently holds the U.S. Climber speed record. Silence, please.
John Brosler on the right. He is our current champion.
John Brosler with a 6.42. Both climbers breaking 7 seconds. Just to give you some context around this 15-meter speed wall, the world record is a blazing fast 5.48 seconds.
You know, it's funny. That's less than a second difference than what John Brosler just did. I know that second makes a huge difference when we're talking only 5 or 6 seconds, but still, that is how good and fast John Brosler is at this.
One of the reasons for the change from years past where they would just switch and do their 2 runs back-to-back is this additional 5 meters on the speed wall necessitates a little bit more rest. So now Max Hammer on the left, Thomas Pitzel on the right. This is their last run here in finals. See them positioning their foot on that starting timer. Time starts as soon as they leave that. A slip for Thomas, or that's going to do it for him.
And Max Hammer finishing it out this time, just squeaking in under 7 seconds.
It's almost hard to believe what 5.48 seconds would have looked like. You saw that with John Brosler there as well. Like the climbers that are so good at the speed climbing, you can just see them accelerating up the wall. It's like Usain Bolt on the 100-meter dash, just going faster and faster.
Yeah, you know, John Brosler trains occasionally with a weight vest on for this speed wall. In one session of training, he'll do 10 or 12 laps on this, sometimes with the 10 or 15 pound weight vest, and then when he takes that off, he feels weightless.
Jordan Fishman on the left. Joe Goodacre on the right. Jordan had a very good time on his first run. A 6.76 for Jordan Fishman. It's great how there's that immediate feedback. The climbers know exactly how they've done. It's not like lead or bouldering where you kind of have to guess or don't really know. speed climbing, immediate gratification or not, depending on your time.
Sure thing, and you can see why it's an addictive sport. I think once a lot of these climbers who haven't done any speed climbing in the past, they'll try it a few times and suddenly want to try it again, try to get that time down. It's kind of the nature of climbers and our quest for numbers and improvement. So far, John Brosler's time is quite a bit faster relatively than all the other competitors.
Oh, and a fall from both climbers right off the bat.
Wow, okay.
That's going to do it there.
That can happen.
You're going to have to just go with their first run. That's why they give you 2 runs, though, Chris.
Yeah, thankful. Too bad the sport climbers don't get those 2 runs.
And that's going to bring it down to our last pairing here, Michael Finn Henry and John Brosler. Going to wrap up this speed finals for the guys.
And unless Michael Finn Henry can post faster than 6.42, John Brosler will take it again.
Yeah, nobody's really been able to step up to him. He's been champion for 3 years running at this point. 4 years running, excuse me. Looking to make it number 5 here.
Silence.
John on the left, Michael on the right. You see John just accelerating. 6:05 for John Brosler. Another national championship for John Brosler. 5 in a row.
Wow, he just shaved nearly half a second off that time, and he is just ecstatic with his performance. The new national speed climbing champion. Again, I guess not new, but
New and still.
New and still, John Brosler. He is the name of United States male speed climbing.
Congratulations to John Brosler on another national championship. Well deserved.
His first run, we're going to get Max Hammer back out here for his last and final go.
Now it looks like Max Hammer might have had a technical on his first run out of the gate there, so not over till it's over.
Oh yeah, and on the left,
But he's got his work cut out for him if he wants to.
Yeah, just to be fair, the rabbit they call the person climbing on the left who's just there kind of as a placeholder for another competitor, even though that person is not a real competitor. So Max Hammer on the right, the rabbit on the left.
I should have John be the rabbit.
Yeah.
Once you win 5.
Wow, great showing by Max Hammer.
So 6.80 for Max Hammer. Not enough to best John Brosler, but a very fine run and nationals for Max Hammer here. That's going to do it for the men's speed finals here.
Yeah, that might put Max Hammer actually on the podium. Not confirmed, but
I don't definitely missing.
Yeah, definitely
Max.
missing Max's time there.
Going to be very close there with John Brosler. Clearly superior, winning all 3 rounds here this weekend.
Yeah, I think Max is going to be third place on the podium there with a 6.80.
Now we're going to get a look at our women's speed finalists. 8 competitors coming out. Lauren Baer, Natalia Grossman, Brooke Robitou, Sienna Kopf, Kyra Condi, Piper Kelly, Amanda Wooten, and our two-time defending speed national champion Claire Burfine in first place, coming into finals, looking to make it a clean sweep between speed and lead here this weekend. Something I'm not sure has been done at all over the years, certainly not for the guys. It's been done for the women, it's not been done very often.
Well, and again, Brian, we're just not seeing the names in the men that we see in the difficulty competitions. But for the women, we've seen all of these women, quite a few of them do very, very well in bouldering and sport climbing nationals.
And there's some updated scores like you were thinking, Chris. Max Hammer in third place, so on the podium here at Speed Nationals. There's an unbelievable difference separating John Brossler from the rest of the field here. That 0.7 of a second is huge.
Yeah, I mean, that is even more pronounced than it would be in the 100-meter dash. Wow.
Climbers getting into position.
Yeah, it's interesting how the in-house mic is quieting the music and quieting the audience just so the competitors can hear the beeping timer, and on that third beep is when they can lift their foot off that pressure-sensitive timer, which is what starts, and then, of course, at the top stops their time.
Got Natalia Grossman on the left, Lauren Bear on the right.
We've seen Natalia doing very well in the bouldering nationals.
Extremely close, but a foot slip there for Natalia. Lauren Bear going to take this first pairing, 10.13. But not a clean run for either climber. So they'll take a break while the rest of the women go, and then they'll come back and switch sides and go for another run here. On the left, it's going to be Sienna Kopp. On the right, Brooke Robitou.
And what I'm pulling up here is I believe the world speed record for the women is about 7.32 seconds.
Quiet, please.
Climbers are neck and neck. It's going to be Brooke. Just over 10 seconds. But you can tell that they can really clean up these runs. There's a certain chaos to speed climbing. Climbers, but it's sort of like a practice in organized chaos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You're not out there precisely placing your foot on a hold and dropping your hip in and chalking up. You're trying to move as fast as you can without getting out of control.
In fact, there are no chalk bags in speed climbing because there's no time.
I saw in the chat room a few minutes ago, Sasha DeJulian, past national champion here, was kind of laughing about how she chalked up during speed finals at a World Cup or World Championship one year. Definitely not the right technique. Next up, we got Kyra Condi on the right there, facing off against Piper Kelly on the left.
Kyra Condi can maybe put her speed to use on this wall, and she's looking great there. Both looking great. Wow. Blistering.
So 9:45 for Piper Kelly. Fastest time we've seen so far. Our top pairing coming up here. I think that Claire Burfine is going to be feeling extra motivated to take down this speed championship this year, having won the lead title just a few minutes ago. Claire's going to be climbing on the left, facing off against Amanda Wooten on the right.
Claire is going to have to really switch her mindset from the controlled, measured sport climbing discipline to the all-out controlled chaos of the speed event.
I want to slip there for Claire Burfine, so it's going to come down to her last run here. Is Amanda with a 9:41. Fastest time so far for Amanda Wooten. So pressure is on for Claire Burfine.
So for Claire, it's all going to come down to her second run. She will have to pull it together and not make any mistakes in order to defend her championship.
And with that, we're going to flip the script and bring out our first two competitors for one more go. At the top of the list, we have Lauren Bayer and Natalia Grossman.
All right, so now that we've run through the speed brackets once, we're going to run it back, but with the climbers flipped on the wall. They climbed on the left before, they'll be on the right side. We'll get Lauren Baer and Natalia Grossman out here. Natalia will be on the right, Lauren on the left. Both looking to break 10 seconds after their first run. And I think that foot center down there, Chris, might also be to make sure the climbers don't false start.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Sensing their reaction time versus the countdown clock. And actually it'd be pretty interesting to see if they can measure the reaction time. They would know how long it takes the climbers to get going from the time the horn sounds. It'd be kind of cool to break that down.
You would like that, you statistician.
Lauren falls right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Natalia bobbles as well. You just can't afford to have any of these small mistakes. It just slows you down. And so even slower this time for Natalia Grossman. Just any bobble, you lose your momentum, and it's hard to recover from. It's like any sport where speed is a factor. Anything that slows you down, really hard to recover from.
Yeah, and really, Brian, the extra 5 meters on this wall that the competitors have to deal with is really just another 5 meters where you could screw up.
Got our next pair out here, Brooke Rabitou on the left, Sienna Kopp on the right.
Sienna doing very, very well in the qualifying round of sport climbing. She is a young up-and-comer whom I expect to see in finals in the very near future of both bouldering and sport. And, of course, Brooke Rabitou always up there.
Yeah, Brooke has multiple Olympics to look forward to at this point, just 16 years old. Foot slip for Brooke there. So a 10-2-1 for Brooke Rabitou.
A little bit slower than her last run.
Still Amanda Wooten with a 9.41 out in front for the women. Just 2 pairings to go here.
And next out of the gates, we have Kyra Condi and Piper Kelly.
Next up, it'll be Kyra Condi on the left, facing off against Piper Kelly on the right.
Piper Kelly currently has our second fastest time at 9.45, just 0.04 seconds behind Amanda Wooten.
Nice math there, Chris.
Thank
Nice.
you. Yeah, even I can do that.
Yeah, super close for the women here. See if anybody can break 9 seconds here in this first year with the 15-meter speed wall at Adult Nationals. Kyra on the left, Piper on the right. Kyra falls again. So a disappointing finals for Kyra Condi, but a 9 flat for a Piper Kelly.
Wow. Putting her solidly in the lead. She's happy with that one. Piper Kelly.
You can see how hard they're breathing.
Next up, your final 2 climbers of the competition.
So Piper Kelly going to be on the podium this year. It's just a matter of where. Remember, Claire Burfine fell on her first trip up this speed wall, so pressure is on. You know she's going to be going for the win, though. Claire on the right, Amanda Wooten on the left. Amanda currently with the second fastest time in finals so far, a 9.41.
Quiet, please.
Clean start for Claire Burfine. She's just accelerating. And an 8.86 for Claire Burfine. Another national championship for the hardware.
Wow. She is dual
Claire Burfine.
national champion, sport and speed, 2018. Claire Burfine. Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, and just like that, the climbing has concluded here at the
So the pressure was on Claire Burfine, both in lead and in speed. And she came through it when the pressure was greatest, Chris. Came out in lead finals, knew she had to send to win, and she did just that. Basically the same thing here in speed finals, knowing she's got to put out one of her best times. No room for error.
And she is still only 19 years old with so much experience, and now 2 more national championships under her belt. Claire Burfine. Wow.
And once she's done with this hug line, we're going to try and see if we can get a word with her. But obviously everyone down there super excited for Claire. One of the nicest people you're going to meet out here. Well-deserved dual championship for Claire Burfine here. And just like that, we're going to be putting a wrap on the 2018 edition of Sport and Speed Nationals. Been a great weekend here at Mesa Rim. This brand new, beautiful facility has been a great host all weekend long. We put on a great show for the competitors and all the people in the crowd here. Want to thank everyone here at Mesa Rim, Mike Helt, for helping make this event possible. USA Climbing, all the volunteers and judges helped put this event on. And of course, crew at LT11, John Glassberg, Josh Ewell, Mike the Sound Weidberg, pushing the buttons, mashing the keys, making all the sights and sounds come through to your living room, wherever you happen to be. Appreciate everyone tuning in, wherever you may be this weekend. See there, Claire Burfine, only competitor for the women to break 9 seconds.
Piper Kelly just about to break that, but at 9 seconds flat. And Amanda Wooten at 9.41. There's our podium.
Checking out the guys' scores one more time. John Brosler, 5-time national champion. Continues to impress here in the speed climbing portion of nationals. As we wrap up, reflecting back on the lead round here, Sean Bailey came out in the middle of the pack for finals, but not really too surprising, Chris, to see him take it down.
Not at all. Previous national champion, back for more, and going off into the World Cups. And for the women, Claire Burfine to take her first lead title. She's about to join us, actually, here in the booth.
Yeah, 5-way tie there for the women, so all went back to semifinals.
And Claire Burfine, that is now joining us here in the booth, still wearing the harness you were wearing.
Still winded, yeah.
And you're still winded. Wow, what a double win this evening.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm so excited. I had a great time. The comp is amazing. I enjoy this event every year, so happy to be here.
Thinking back to lead finals, it seems like a long time ago probably at this
Right.
point. Obviously, you were back in isolation. You probably could hear what was going on. What was your mentality coming out, knowing that you probably had to send the route to?
Yeah, I try not to think about that too much. You know, I perform my best when I'm just concentrating on the climb and not really thinking about the results at all. Unfortunately, I think it was a little bit easy to split up the girls in our category. It's not only, I'm sorry, I'm still catching my breath.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
take your time.
It's not only some of the best girls in the country, but we have some of the best girls in the world here. So, you know, I'm fortunate that I got a route that was my style. And yeah, I feel lucky to have come out on top.
Well, and that's awesome because you have not only won sport nationals now, you have won Seco Block in the past.
Oh, yeah.
You have now won speed climbing again, and you were actually just 4th place in bouldering nationals this year,
Yes.
which really to me adds up to an amazing Olympian.
Thank
what
you.
are your
I
thoughts on
appreciate it.
that?
You know, I'm really excited about the opportunity. I think it's amazing for our sport, and we have a lot of really strong women, I think, that are going to be going for it, but I'm definitely hopeful to be a part of that. Yeah.
And what's your plan going forward? I know we talked at Bouldering Nationals. You're taking some time off from school and really focusing on climbing now. What's your plan going forward this year?
Yeah, so I'm really trying to find a better balance of competing and outdoor climbing. And so this next week I'm going to head to the Red, just have some fun time. And then I'll be going to Innsbruck to train before the World Cup season starts.
Oh, nice.
And then just kind of flip-flopping, doing like some training and World Cups, and then trying to get outside to Oleana and a couple other spots.
And have you done any lead climbing World Cups before?
I have in the past,
Okay.
yeah. I competed in the previous World Championships in Paris.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
You know,
And then a handful of others, yeah.
It's really exciting for many of us to see you now focusing a bit here and there on climbing outdoors. You may be the first person ever to have climbed a first 514, and it was a 14C, and then you did another couple the next day. That is absolutely amazing, and it just points to an incredible potential you haven't yet tapped.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. What's on your radar for outdoor climbing?
Yeah, so at the Red River Gorge, I tried Golden Ticket last time I was there, and it's a beautiful route, so I'm hoping to get back on that one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, I guess we'll let you catch your breath.
I know, I feel like I'm talking like a crazy person. I'm like not breathing correctly, but
I think it's well deserved at this point. Two national
absolutely.
championships.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so
Best
much.
of luck with the World Cup season this year.
Thank you.
We'll
Yeah.
be watching.
Guys.
Thanks so much for joining us, Claire.
Thank you.
All right, congratulations, and thank you to Claire Burfine. She needs somebody to get her something to drink. Needs some hydration. But yeah, Chris, that was incredible performance. I'm pretty sure we haven't seen that before, at least in recent memory, since I've been doing these nationals, to see somebody win both lead and speed in the same year. And like you pointed out, almost on the podium for bouldering nationals as well. So
Yeah.
Claire being well-rounded at the time when it's most valuable with the Olympics on the horizon.
Yep, right place at the right time, and certainly the right talent, motivation, drive. Claire Burfine has certainly had an incredible St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patty's Day, everybody.
We're just going to get some award presentations underway here in just a minute. You think about the trophies for the top 3 finishers in both lead and speed here from this weekend. Claire Burfine going to be on top of the podium for both. Hope she left room in her luggage for some hardware.
That's right. Yep. It's really exciting, again, I think, to see Claire on top on both, because she really has been near the top, at the top on a few competitions, but she's just always right in the mix, and it's great to see her really just bring it all together and make it happen.
Yeah, you mentioned she won Seiko Comp. She did great at the Youth World Championships last year. And now to see her break through at Adult Nationals for the first time for lead climbing. And it's cool to see both Claire and Josh and Margot as well. Not Josh. Sean Bailey and Margot Hayes they're all talking about really focusing on the World Cup circuit. All going over to Europe. Margot obviously has been living there for a while, really focusing on not only the bouldering World Cups, which Alex Puccio has done a lot of over the years, but the lead World Cups, which the U.S. has really been underrepresented in over the years. Really, I don't know if we've had anybody win a lead climbing World Cup in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the U.S. is kind of written off in World Cup lead, but yeah, it's starting to change, and I think Claire, Margot, Sean, yeah, these are the people who are going to change that and change our reputation internationally, really.
So that's definitely something to keep an eye out. The Bouldering World Cup season starts next month already, so really fast turnaround for these competitors to transition from bouldering season last month to lead climbing season this month, back to bouldering season next month.
Well, yeah, and it's funny. It's like, can you even call it a sport climbing season? It's like, yeah, they have to train their bodies to withstand a lot more moves than the bouldering comps, but really it's just for this one comp so far. Hopefully they'll be able to maintain some of that fitness into the World Cup season. But actually, as Megan pointed out, really, the bouldering comps have focused not on power problems so much as power endurance problems, which is much more closely related to what the competitors are finding here at Sport Nationals anyway. So the difference in training isn't actually, or doesn't have to be really, as different as it may sound.
Finalists for both sport and speed. Top 3 finalists in sport and speed. Please head back to the check-in area.
All right, as we wait for our awards presentation here, we're going to take a quick break, catch our breath, and we'll be right back.
So I first started thinking about freestyling El Cap in probably 2008, 2009. And then the first several years, it was just this abstract dream. And each time I looked at the wall, it would fill me with fear. And then I had a couple of distinct experiences on El Cap where I was like, oh, I could actually imagine being up here ropeless. I had to sort of accept the dream, or sort of like embrace the vision of it before I could get into the nitty-gritty.
Welcome back to Reno, Nevada, and the Mesa Rim Climbing and Fitness facility here. We are waiting for the award presentation here.
I do want to give a quick thank you to all of our sponsors, once again, without which we would not be able to make any of this possible. Let's give it up for the North Face, Quetzal, Cliff Bar, Technic, Element, E-Grips, Black Hole, Rock Candy, So Ill, Working Class, Cheetah, Locks Climbing Equipment, Dimension Volumes, Rhino Skin Solutions, Friction Labs, Entreprise Wall System, Flash Climbing, Static Climbing, and Alpenglow Expeditions. Thank you so much.
There's Krista of USA Climbing. She is not actually going to step onto the podium, but we are just waiting for our speed climbers and sport climbers to be presented here in Reno, Nevada.
Wherever they are, actually, I want them to come up in front of the table and be recognized. Ladies and gentlemen, give a quick shout out to Ryan Sewell from Denver, Colorado. Ryan, come on up. Rylan Marshall from Boulder, Colorado.
First, we're going to shout outs to our route setters, Ryan Sewell
Alex Forrest from Seattle, Washington.
and company here.
Nick Orange from Worcester, Massachusetts. And your chief, Kyle McCage from Merrimack, New Hampshire.
Yeah, these route setters you're looking at here did a fantastic job of separating the field enough. There were no ties and really had some exciting rounds. I mean, the qualifying round really separated them. We only had one female, Alex Puccio, to finish both of the qualifyings. In semifinals, they really ramped up the difficulty and had a lot of bouldering moves, a lot of people falling halfway up or even lower, but it did the perfect job for finals where we just had a handful of tops, which is exactly what we're looking for. So I'd say the route setting was just spot on for this 2018 Nationals.
Here we go with our speed climbing awards.
In second place, earning the silver medal, give it up for Piper Kelly.
Amanda Wooten there in third place. Piper Kelly in second.
And in first place, in your reigning 2018 USA
And our three-time
National Champion, give it up for Claire
speed climbing national champion, Claire Burfine.
With a time of 8.86, she had the only female to break 9 seconds on this 15-meter speed wall. Huh. Wow, she will need room in her luggage, Brian.
One last time, give it up for Amanda Wooten, Piper Kelly, and Claire Burfine.
And Claire Burfine sweeping the podium here.
It looks like she is still winded after probably having talked to many more people after she left our booth.
Next up for the men, in third place, earning the bronze medal, give it up for Max Hammer.
Third place for the men in speed, Max Hammer.
In second place, earning the silver medal, give it up for Jordan Fishman.
Jordan Fishman out in second place.
In first place, earning
And
the
national
gold
champion
medal,
once again,
setting the new
John
US
Brosler.
climbing speed record on a 15-meter wall. Give it up for your 2018
Apparently he set a new U.S. record on a 50-meter wall.
That's incredible. He had a time of 6.05 seconds. John Brosler, thrilled with his performance. New U.S. record.
Ladies and gentlemen, one last time, give it up for Max Hammer, Jordan Fishman, and John Brosler.
Congratulations to all of our speed finalists and podium finishers.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now we will be announcing the winners of the 2018 USA Climbing Sport Open National Championship.
Next up will be the podium for the Sport Climbing National Championship.
In third place, earning the bronze medal.
Third place for the women,
Alex Puccio.
none other than Alex Puccio. Come close over the years to winning sport nationals, but Not this year, even though she finished the route.
In any case, an amazing performance by Alex Puccio, normally seen on the podium, on top of the podium at bouldering comps.
Not used to being that far down the podium. Michaela Kirsch in second place, just improving year after year. So impressive to see. And as we've talked about, our first time lead climbing national champion Claire Burfine sweeping the podium here at Nationals.
The ladies fist pumping each other. What an exciting round. And a wonderful finish for these three women.
Moving on to the guys. In third place, earning the bronze medal. Give it up for Solomon Barth.
And taking the bronze medal for the guys here, Solomon Barth. Really great climb from him all weekend. Just getting closer and closer year after year.
Great to see him finally up on the podium in the finals.
And speaking of getting closer to the top of the podium, Drew Ruana in second place this year. You know he wants to take it down one of these years. Just a matter of time, you'd have to think. And our national champion once again for the guys, Sean Bailey. Won in 2016, won it again here in 2018.
Top two places, Team Vertical World athletes. They are really doing a fantastic job of training these psyched climbers, both in comps and in outdoor climbing. All of them excel. What an awesome finals for the men.
What a great weekend of competition all weekend long here. Chris Widener, it's been a pleasure to be here once again. Congratulations to all of our climbers, finalists, and our winners, Claire Burfine for the women and Sean Bailey for the men. Just like that, another Sport and Speed Nationals in the books. Looking forward to next year, but for now, signing off from Reno, Nevada, I'm Brian Reynolds.
I'm Chris Widener, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good night, everyone.
So I first started thinking about free soloing El Cap in probably 2008, 2009. And then the first several years, it was just this abstract dream. And each time I looked at the wall, it would fill me with fear. And then I had a couple of distinct experiences on El Cap where I was like, oh, I could actually imagine being up here ropeless. I had to sort of accept the dream, or sort of like embrace the vision of it before I could get into the nitty-gritty.
I can read
EP poured the first handhold in 1985. Here we are 30 years later. Chances are if you climbed inside, you've climbed on an EP hold.